There it is. Okay. What's up? What's up? Welcome to another episode of Bakwuds Live. This is episode number 42, and we are doing something special today. We are out in the freezing cold in the daytime. Something different. I'm usually out here in the evening time after my job, but today we're out here just making it happen. So I have two different streams going on. Of course, I have my main camera on YouTube, doing YouTube Live. Right here, we also have Twitch. So we have two different things happening right now, but we're achieving the same goal today, and we're going to be making a skateboard. Now, on our last episode, we were working on this bad boy right here, which is pretty nice, pretty sweet looking deck. We have to finish it up just a little bit. There is still some sanding left to do on these edges. I think the shape is great. I am going to do a little bit of modification here, a little bit of modification there, something, maybe not anything too major, but just enough to get this thing ready for paint and get this thing looking beautiful, which I think it is just about there already. Now our dimensions on this particular skateboard are 8 5/8 wide, I believe, fully 8 5/8 wide, so a rather wider deck than your usual. And we are at 14.25 on the wheelbase, pretty standard as far as that goes. Now our length overall, I've got to lay that one down for that. 31 3/4 seems about right. Now that's the straight across measurement. If you were to compress the tape measure down, of course, you're going to have a different measurement. But that's neither here nor there. So we're going to take this thing right on over to our table here and get it happening. Now, you'll have to bear with me a little bit. I have these two different camera situations happening, so I hope you guys can hear me on here. I have no idea, but I hope so. And you guys, I do hope that you can see me and hear me just as clearly as any other episode. Now, here we go. That looks pretty good. I also, as you see, you guys don't see it too much, but they see it. I have a camera right up above that will help in possibly seeing something that maybe I missed while I was talking, or something that you wanted to see a little bit closer. It's not necessarily closer, but it is a new angle that could be helpful, could be useful for somebody, I would think. You never know. Okay. So like I said, we have to do a little bit of sanding on here. Now I believe I've already hit this thing with 120. I have. So I'm just going to go ahead and step right on up to our 220 grit sandpaper. Set that one aside. And, nope, that's another 120. That is a 120. That is a 220. I'm getting my stacks mixed up. It happens. Okay, so we have our sandpaper applied, and we're ready to get this thing going. Now I forgot to mention, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns about anything I'm doing, talking about, or working on, please let me know in the comments section. Otherwise, I am just freezing and building skateboards. So we're just out here doing our thing. I can see the comments right here. Oh, for YouTube. Same thing with Twitch. I can see you guys on my screen. It's not quite as big as I would hope. But you know, that's just is what it is today. So we're gonna get it going. I don't have any comments at the moment, so if you do have something, just chime in there and I'll try to answer it as best I can. I had a feeling that was going to happen right off the top, so that means that that paper is done and I can grab a new piece. Now hopefully this is not really a new piece. This is actually an old piece I'm repurposing again. So we'll see if that lasts or if it just pops off like that one. So far, so good. purpose of this 220 sanding is we're not trying to change any kind of dimensions or the way that this thing looks. We're just getting this thing nice and beautiful and paint ready. As you can see, maybe a little bit. You can maybe see up top too. So now we're going to flip it over and do the same thing to the other side. So it doesn't take long to get the consistency and the angles that I'm going for. I don't want to overdo it at the same time. So as long as I'm paying attention, it's pretty quick and it's pretty easy. Now, I did mention that this was one we were working on our last episode, episode 41, but I didn't mention why. So it actually turns out that I had a customer order 3 or 4, we're still discussing, he wants to go 3 I think at this moment, blank decks that he's going to have a particular project for. And I think that's pretty cool. I can't wait to see what he's going to end up doing with them. So that's what we're doing right now. He just wants some basic skateboard shapes. And it just coincidentally is what I ended up working on last time. So I'll just be able to finish this one up, and this will be number 1 of that stack that he's looking for. So I am also curious, if you're watching this, how you been dealing with that snow? It has been crucial, treacherous, and awful for me anyways. It has been really cold. I've been shoveling a lot of it. Hey, what's up, Bender Bizzle Lord? Sorry, I hope I said that right. I appreciate you joining me. I appreciate you joining me. Let me try to say that clearly. I've been out there shoveling snow. It's been sucky cold. It's really heavy because it's full of ice. I'm in Central Virginia, by the way, if you're curious. I don't know, some of my viewers, they know where I'm at. Others maybe not so much. But again, any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. I do appreciate you joining me. Now my main focus is switching over to the top. I'm hitting it also with this 220 grit. And at the same time, trying to keep myself warm, keep my phalanges nice and toasty because it is not happening at the moment. Almost there. Just give me one more second. I got a little bit more. Okay. We're doing okay at the moment. Okay, really had to make sure I got all those hard edges smoothed out really nicely. So that was pretty quick, pretty painless, relatively, except for my hands, of course. I may have to turn on that air purifier here in a minute because it is getting a little dusty in here. But we're doing okay right now. We're hanging in there. I do appreciate you joining me. Any questions, comments? Again, you know where to hit me up and let me know. Otherwise, we're going to keep it going. And I'm going to try to get this thing finished up with no clamp this time. pretty good. I'm going to hit this other side one more time just to make sure that it's good and smooth. Looks like we're still good there. I got my lights on. So anyways, we're going to keep it going. Appreciate you being here, but I apologize. This thing is rather loud. Hopefully the mics aren't just picking up raw sander sound and it's not overbearing. Okay, pretty good. Pretty good. It's pretty easy. We got that pretty good. So, it's looking pretty nice. Now I do have some marks here. You might be able to see them here on the top, but I'll show you guys right there. There's a little bit of pencil marks. There you go. You can see some pencil marks and extra little dents and things like that that I'm trying to get rid of. Right there. Maybe you can see them. It's very, very slight. It's not very much, but just a little bit. So I want to get rid of those pencil marks, but I don't want to sand at it too long and put any kind of dents or divots in it. That would be no good. No bueno, no good. Pretty good there. I like to really get in there and focus on what I'm doing. Try to really make sure I'm not missing anything, and I have a nice beautiful edge. So believe it or not, this thing is just about ready for paint. Yeah, I think we're just about there. So I like to customarily always hit these boards. My last go round is going to be with a hand sander. It's just the best way to do it. It's laborious, it's exhausting sometimes. So I recommend trying to be ambidextrous, right hand and left hand. You know, whatever the case may be. I'm a lefty, so I always end up doing a lot of lefty work, as you probably see if you've ever watched this show before. You've seen me doing a lot of this stuff. It's all been left-handed, and that's just how I roll. I've always been a lefty. I'm not sure why. So what makes that up? Why, you know? I mean, some people say it's a parent genetic thing. I don't know. There's no telling. I'll tell you what though, I do like doing these daytime shows. There's not really much of a difference otherwise besides the window, it being actually daytime outside. But I just feel I'm not exhausted by the end of the day stuff. You know, usually by the afternoon I'm pretty well tired. Not looking to do too much. Or if I do end up coming out to do a live, I'm not as excited to do it simply because I'm tired. And that's just how it goes sometimes. Okay, that's looking pretty nice. I'm gonna have to hit that with this. A little easier, lazy, yes, but it was easier. Just had to do it. I just had to do it. So at the same time, I also like to make sure I don't have any jigsaw marks left over or drill marks. Now, of course, with a custom deck like I make, you end up with a little bit of cutout on these holes here. What's up? What's up? Hey, you want to start skateboarding? Got any tips? I do have some tips actually. So, depends on what kind of tips you are looking for to know. So if you're wondering, I have a comment. They're asking about some tips for skateboarding. Now, there's tons of different tips and directions we could go. Everything from choosing a proper skateboard to choosing a proper place to ride, and then just choosing a proper time to ride. Sometimes earlier in the day works better for people. Sometimes afternoon. I tend to be an afternoon skater. If I try to skate at like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, not going to be very fun. It's going to be exhausting, and by 10 o'clock, I'll be needing a nap. I'm pretty sure. So anyways, I do, hi by the way, I do appreciate you joining me. So if you have any specific questions about any tips, I could also give you some trick tips on how to do kick flips, ollies, 360 flips, grinds, whatever the case may be that you're looking to know. So please feel free to hit me back and let me know what kind of information you're seeking, and I can help lay it out for you. But anyways, we have this thing just about ready to go. I did see a couple of little marks there. You know, I just realized on that camera I didn't do a white balance. That was bad Bobby. Bad Bobby not doing that. I think it'll be okay though. So this one is good to go. Like I said, we're going to be making 3 of these things. So number 1 is ready to ride. 8, 6, 8 or 8 and 5/8 technically was our dimensions for this skateboard. Now our next one, I believe, I'm going to go ahead and do this. It's another twin. Twin Mellow, as you can see from the labeling here. Twin Mellow is what we're going to be making. Will do, thanks. Absolutely, absolutely. So like I said, I have at least almost 30 years. I'm like 28, 29 years in the skateboard game. So I hope I can answer any kind of questions that you may have. Some of the more technical things I may not know, but I can tell you 90% of skateboarding is just personal feeling and personal influence. And what I mean by that is 2 people will not ride the same deck the same way. They might approach it a different way, set it up a different way, lean a certain way, like more heavy on your heels, heavy on your toes, and that makes a big distinction on how things change when you're doing skateboarding and explaining skateboarding tricks specifically. Now me, I'm a heavy-heeled kind of person, so when I'm riding, I'm actually kind of leaning back like this, so when I fall, I tend to fall backwards or forwards rather than face planting kind of direction. So there's all kinds of different dynamics. Just like physics, it's all about numbers and things. Things, I don't know. Okay. I am digressing again. So we have our holes on this one. This is, what is this? What is this? Ooh, this is a 15-inch wheelbase. Now I wonder if this guy's going to want different wheelbases. I didn't get a chance to ask him. I didn't tell him that I was doing a live here, so hopefully, oh, has it been half an hour? I wonder. Give me a second here. I wonder if that thing is not recording. Give me just a second here. I have another camera going here, and it has a 30-minute timer. So after 30 minutes, the damn thing will stop recording. And I'll bet you it did. Is it not going to show me? Sorry, give me just a second. I'm almost there. Oh, we're not recording. So we're going to press record. There we go. And now it's recording once again. Luckily, I saw it this time. Last episode, I missed it. And I just missed half the show because I forgot to record it. Now, I apologize. We're back at it. We're getting it going. Now, we have a 15-inch wheelbase on this bad boy. and we're going to go with it. That's going to be a nice cruiser deck. There's a lot of different things you could do with a 15-inch wheelbase. You could throw some big wheels on this thing and make it a true cruiser style. You could keep some shorty or smaller wheels on it and still use it as a street deck. It just all depends on what you're looking for. Now this one, we're going to actually make it a popsicle deck, just like the last one. But I think I'm going to go a little bit smaller and make it an 8.5-inch wide deck. Now what I do here next is, I have that going, yes, it's going. It's not a good angle. It's a terrible angle, actually. You can barely even see it. Anyways, I digress. We're going to go 8.5, so that is going to be 4, 2, 5. And then on this side, I'm just getting myself right here at the start of the wheels and measuring out 4.25 to give me 8.5 on both sides. Now, to flip it and do it again. And again, any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know. If you can't hear me, you can't hear me. Tired of hearing me, whatever the case may be, let me know. I do appreciate you joining me for this episode. I haven't seen much on the Twitch happening. Not like I was expecting. I was expecting a little more action on that front, but you know, what can you do? This is my second time using it, I think. Technically third, but the actual second time I was just running, well, the same thing I ran at the beginning of this episode, which was just kind of a screensaver, more or less. Alright, so I don't usually make it all the way out there like that. Usually, when I'm doing this, sorry, I had to focus there for a second. Usually when I'm doing this, I'll put my lines right, or my starting point right here and right here. At this time, though, I put it back here and back here. I don't know why. Who knows? Maybe I figured it would be easier. It is not. It was a lie. I lied to myself, and now I have to pay for the consequences. But that's okay. We're going to run this line out just like we did the last one. There we go, just to our, from point to point. There we go. Now we have our 8-inch wide dimensions ready to ride, as you can see right there, and you can see right here above. Now we have to draw in some tails and nose. Now this being a twin, I'm going to make them even. They're going to be the same angle, the same length, and the same width. Hopefully. Presumably, hopefully, we shall see. Usually, sometimes, most of the time, I end up drawing them in by hand. I might end up just tracing this one. I might just do that. But, before I do that, I have to get my length. Now for my length, I like to come from the back set of truck holes. Hopefully you can see that above. So I'll put my little divider line right there. Now for my length, total overall length, I'm looking for something in the 32.5 to 32.25 range. 32.25 to 32.5 is my total length. Now I could tell you all these other numbers, but I'd probably just be confusing with you, so I'm just going to tell you I'm starting at 6.5, and then I'm going to flip it over, and on this side I'm also going to look for 6.5 from that mark that we made earlier, right there. Now, I just don't remember off the top of my head if that's going to give me my full 32.5 right there. We're looking at about 32, so I'm going to bump both of them up about 1/4 of an inch. Now I know it doesn't sound like a whole lot, and it's not, but because of the curve of the board and how all that works, we're actually going to end up probably right where I want to be. So right there, 6 3/4, and we're still not too long in these. If you go to around 7 inches or more, it tends to be a big ass nose and tail, in my opinion. Some people like that. I don't want too much. So I like to kind of thread the needle, as it were, to make it long enough but not too long, if that makes sense. So from our second measurements, we're looking at about 32.25. Like I said, eighth of an inch on both sides. Or quarter, would I say? Quarter of an inch, okay. Quarter of an inch on each side gives me half inch overall. I know, a lot of numbers, a lot of information, some of it useful, some of it not. I'm going to take one of my old decks that I have here. Okay, I want to use, which side of this do I want to use? You know what, I don't want to use this deck, do I? No, I want to use a different one. Ah, there we go. This one. This is a good one. Yes, this is actually an 8.5 I made several years ago. And we're going to repurpose it. Smells smoky. I don't like that. I think it's just because I'm in a wood shop. I'm raising dust, it's catching fire, you know, stuff like that. Anyways, I'm going to get my holes lined up, and I actually have a little trick for that. Grab me a couple of these 16 penny nails, and this will help me line up my spot of where I'm looking to make. There we go, just like that. Now, it is a little long, so I'm actually not going to be able to use those. I'm going to have to switch over to the back set. Now that is, because it's a 15-inch wheelbase, I have to switch to these back set of holes. It's not usually the case. Sometimes I'll just draw it in. But in this instance, why not do something different? It's cold outside, and I feel like being different today. So like I said, right at 8.5, so it's right at our marks, exactly where I want it to be. Now it's just a simple act of tracing this. There we go. Making sure to meet up with the same lines that I had before, and I'll flip it over and do the same thing. And I'm curious to think, or to know, what you guys think of this process that I'm doing right here. Is it cheating? Is it half-assing it? Or is it legit and I can, you know, do what I want because that's just how I do the process? Like I said, I do enjoy drawing these in, but for something like this where I'm trying to do a lot of talking and explaining at the same time, tracing just seems to be a better alternative, because I don't have to focus on as much on making sure my drawing is perfect, and I can focus on telling you about what I'm doing here. And then I can focus better when I'm actually shaping it to make it perfect and everything that it needs to be. Okay, so we are done with that. We're going to set it back here. Okay. So I'm just going to knock things over and make a mess. That's going to happen there. Okay, there we go. Will do, thanks. What's up? Okay, we're still going. Still have it happening. Pretty psyched. Good stuff, good stuff. Still have it going. Now, what do you guys think about that shape? You think that's ready? Is it ready? You tell me. Do you think it's ready? I just don't know. I just don't know. I think it looks ready to me. There it is, right there. It looks ready like it wants to be cut and ridden. I hit my marks almost precisely where I was looking for. I'll give you a little closer up view. This is what we have. Close up. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Not bad, right? And there for you guys. You can see our marks there that we're looking for. We actually hit them like we wanted to. So I'm pretty psyched about that. Now, let's see what else we have happening. I think we're ready to cut. Now this part's going to be a little loud. I can't really cut these mics off because cutting them back on is a pain in the butt sometimes. To make sure it's all synced back up. So if you want to turn your mic down, I'm not going to say anything important. probably ever in my life, but more specifically in the next 5 to 10 minutes while I'm cutting this thing. Won't say anything really super important that you need to know. So we're gonna get it going and get to cutting. So also thank you for being here. I really appreciate you guys joining me. It's cold today. Oof. About halfway there. I'm going to turn that air circulator on, so give me just a second here. Keep this thing on. I don't know, that's going to suck up a whole lot of dust. I know it's going to make it a lot harder to hear me, considering how loud and whiny that thing is, but it's going to help clear the air, make it easier to hopefully see everything that is happening, that I have happening going on. Okay, still good, still rocking and rolling, still making it happen. Get it going, second time. Got it pretty good. So, after that, we have our basic shape ready to dry. Set that up to the side. Now give me a second here, I gotta dust off. There's so much dust. Not the microphone in there, wouldn't that be crappy? Like a microphone in the damn dust collector. Okay. So, as I said, we got a pretty raw shape at the moment. Still relatively raw all the way around. See, it's probably a little jagged on some areas. to let that air purifier run for just another minute. But we got this thing pretty good. I tried to stay clear of the line just to make sure there's no problems. That's probably enough, right? 5 minutes, 10 minutes? I'm sure that's enough. I'm sure it's plenty. It's plenty. Like I was saying, I tried to stay relatively close to the line here. I didn't want to get too close and end up making a divot or cutting into the line and then creating a big mess of a problem. Don't want to do that. Not at all. Would be no fun. But anyways, we're ready to move on. Any questions, comments, concerns? Class? Anybody? You in the back? You? Back there? Behind the guy? No? Nothing? Nothing. It's been pretty quiet today. Pretty quiet on the comment front. I had Cameron BMX, he hit me up and asked a couple of questions about some info regarding getting new, being into skateboarding, being brand new to it. Hopefully I was able to answer some questions for him. You never can tell sometimes. I really do try to be helpful and spread my skateboard knowledge, my information that I may or may not possess that may or may not be useful. So, I don't know if it's been long enough. We're going to let it ride. And I think we're going to step over there to that machine and get it happening. I think I was going to try to put it off a little bit because I got two cameras now I have to reposition. So this ought to be interesting, but I have an idea. I'm thinking, bear with me guys. You guys here, bear with me, everybody bear with me. We're gonna make something happen here. I'm gonna try and turn just the cameras. Now this one, turn you, just like that. Now I know you see the top of the monitor, that's just not gonna work. It's not gonna work. I'm gonna have to keep you right there. We're going to keep you locked in. Nope, what the heck? Lock it in right there. But we can simply just rotate you and turn that off. There we go. We're not going to need that for a minute. We're not on the table currently. So same with you guys. We're going to slide on over here and work on that machine right there. So anyways, any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know. Let me know what you're thinking, what's your thoughts, anything like that. I'd be happy to try to answer them. I'm going to kick this thing on. This one's even louder than the last one. Oh, I'm sorry. Rotate you. Oh gosh, things are in the way. Damn it! Knocked them things out of my pockets. Things are in the way. Oh my gosh, it's all just not working today. Okay, let's try that again. Slide you over here. Make sure both my sounds are working. They are not. I am missing a sound. Why did the batteries die? Oh, I think I turned it off or something. Oh, you know what? I bet you that happened during battery low. That would make sense. So, that sucks. That sucks. So, we're going to have to make a change here. And go input. Input 2. Check, check, check. There we go. Okay. So, one of my microphones just died on me. It happens. It's just a part of the process. But I do apologize for that. Now, we got you set up. We got you set up. Again, any questions over here, please let me know. Slide you over here also. Now, I have to kick this thing on. Safety first. Put my strings away. The one I have to kind of keep out a little bit. But that's just because I have the microphone on it. So we're going to be very careful with that. Okay. So, we're ready to go now. Apologize, it's going to take me a minute to get things set up and time. So, ready? Ready? Here, there. That's what we're starting with. Pretty good. Look at those lines now. The line is good. Look at that. See that right there? That line right up. That line right there. Perfect. That line. Good. Beautiful. Came out beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and hit the nose and the tail. Let's go ahead and get outside now. that thing a minute to quiet down. It's going to take a minute for that thing to get quiet. I still got the air cleaner on because it is still a little bit dusty in here, so I do apologize. And I do apologize for you guys. I had my microphone died on me, so now we're just stuck with my overhead mic, which is probably just maxing out the sound really badly. But that's okay. Maybe kick off a little bit of this dust here into my dust collector. Make my life just a little bit cleaner. A little bit easier. So, as I was saying, we got this thing looking really, really nice. I'm going to kick it off. I feel like I have to yell. I don't want to have to yell at you guys. So, I figured it'd just be easier for me to kick it off, and then we don't have to worry about hearing it. So, we got this thing smoothed out very nicely, very beautiful all the way down. I'm really digging this shape. It looks damn near identical, right? I would say so. Always like to do the test. One against another. Just keep spinning it like that. There you go. I'll show you guys. Get that out the way. You just got to figure out, well, does it look the same? They pretty much look exactly the same to me. I think one is maybe just a little bit longer. I think you're just a little bit longer than the other one. But we're talking 1/8 of an inch, or 1/16 of an inch, if not less. So it's going to be very, very minor. A very small amount that it's going to be bigger than. And we'll be able to take that off on the bag sander whenever we step to that. Now, whew, okay, a lot of talking. I don't know if this camera is going ahead and still filming or not. I think we're going to go ahead and end this episode right here. I think this is a good ending spot, maybe? I don't know. Do I want to hit it with the bag? Any votes? Votes on the bag sander. Not too late. It's only 4 o'clock, actually. I think I got some time. I think I got a little bit of time. What do you guys think? Yeah? You have never seen the bag sander. They have. You guys have seen the bag sander plenty of times. Question being, do we want to step up to the bag sander now? 50 minutes. It'll probably take less than 10 minutes to get it going. Why not? Why not? We'll scoot her on back. There we go. Whoa. If I could get this thing, turning. There we go. It's really close. So I'm just going to tilt you down just a little. No, I'll just, give me a second here. We're getting things going here. See if I can get things going here. Had to kind of create a little blockade for both sound and insulation. And it somewhat helps. It does. That'll work. I can see it right here. This is what we're going to be working on. Really tight shot though. It's not suitable. It's not a suitable shot. But that's okay. That's okay. We're going to actually flip you around and maybe just let you see right here. Hopefully I won't be in the way and you'll be able to see everything that is happening. And you can also kind of get a shot of my situation there. My situation. I need that one right there. That's what we're looking for. Right there. Okay. Other camera doesn't matter. Okay. Let's get it going. You kick this thing back on. First, get that set up. Okay. This also is a very dangerous machine, so you got to be very careful whenever you're working with this particular machine. Wrong one. This is the one I want. This one over here. Taking that nice flat edge. That flat edge. We're going to try much. Looking pretty good. So this is what we just made right here. This one and that one. Pretty neat, right? So this is the first one we made, this is the second. I like it. I like it. Now, because I mistakenly put this one on the sander, I have to hit it with the hand sander real quick. Step is going to be putting paint on this one. However, this is the one that we just created right here. It's looking pretty nice. Came out really good. I think it's looking really like a beautiful skateboard. Our stats coming in. Let me tell you that. That loud ass air cleaner, because that thing is incredibly loud. Okay, 58 minutes, that's not too bad. 1.5 skateboards at 58 minutes. I'm not too mad at that. Total width, 8.5 inches wide, as you can see on the tape measure there. Maybe you guys can see, I don't know. upside down, but it's 8.5. Our wheelbase on this bad boy is 15 inch. This is a big wheelbase on this bad boy right here. 15 inch, you can see right there. It's big. It's gonna be a nice cruiser. Somebody's really gonna dig this thing. Total length overall, we are just over 32 and a half. Just barely over 32 and a half. With each nose and tail being 6 3/4 long. Double check that one. Oh, whoa, dropping my tape. Dropping my tape. 6 3/4, just like I thought. And that's exactly what I was going for, is 6 3/4, 6.75 for that. This is going to be a beautiful twin. And our next step would be to switch back over to the 120 and begin sanding this thing to get our precision edge laid out just like we did the last one. But we're going to go ahead and end this episode right here as it's cold. It's getting late in the evening and got some things I got to do. So I do appreciate you guys joining me on today's episode of Backwoods Live. It's been great having you with me. We've been talking about these skateboards, building these different skateboards, and it's been pretty great. So I do appreciate you guys joining me. Again, this was YouTube and Twitch. I did have the audio cut out because my battery died, apparently. That happens. But I do appreciate it, and I will see you guys on the next one. So, peace, chicken grease, and take it easy. Yeah, take it easy. Let's go ahead and end stream there. Stream quality, 1 star. They get 1 star. 1 star, that's it. We're going to end that stream as well. 269, that's not very many.